Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And it's October, and October is a massive reading month. We have the empty shelfie going on, the spooky shelfie or whatever it's called, and there's also a readathon at the end of the month. And I thought that it would be nice to do a little vlog style and a reading update, I guess, for this month. And I figured I would do it every couple of days whenever I've been reading, so I have updates to give. So today's the second, and I finished my first book already. So this is my first book. I finished Every Hard Doorway just now. It was really good. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it at first because literally the book made no sense to me whatsoever when I first started it. It was extremely confusing trying to figure out what all these little lands and doorways and worlds that everyone went to. So the basic premise behind it is if you were Alice and you went to Wonderland, or you were any of the kids that went to Narnia and you came back home, what would life be like for you after you got home? So this book's about this school full of kids that have all gone to their worlds, some of which are dying to get back, some don't want to come back but don't really want to be here either. They're kind of stuck in the middle. And it's a fairly short book. It's like 170 pages. It took me 2 days to read it because I was confused at first. And then I didn't have a chance to read it much, so I started it yesterday and I read it and I finished it today because we were out and about and doing things and I didn't have a chance to sit down and read like I wanted to. So yeah, so this is my first book for the month and I very much enjoyed it. I put the next one in my cart and I'll be buying those books on the 7th or something because I homeschool my boys. I don't homeschool my daughter anymore. It's a new thing in our house. She just started school and it's the first time she's been to school in 3 years, but I think it was needed. She needed the pure interactions. So I have a educator's discount that I can get from Barnes & Noble, and they have this big 25% off thing going on this next week. So I've got a cart full of stuff and I'm waiting for the sale to hit so that I can get 25% off everything in my cart, because the children's books, some of the mangas, anything YA will already have a 20% off, but there's still a bunch of stuff in there that is none of the above. It's adult or it's something else, or for some reason half the mangas have a discount, the other half does not. So come the 7th, everything should come 25% off, and so I'm going to buy a bunch of mangas for my daughter, a couple of books for my son, and a couple of books for me, including number 2. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'm sure you'll get an unboxing of that. And then I'm also listening to Rogue. It is the 3rd book in the Croak series. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I would show you a picture, but I'm on my phone and the only picture I have is on my phone. But I will add a picture so you guys can see. It's this really weird book about this girl named Lex who is a twin, but her twin is very self-sufficient, very stable, very nice girl. She, however, is a rebellious turd, and it turns out the reason she's so rebellious is because she's meant to be a Grim, which is like a Grim Reaper. So when someone dies, they come and they kill them so they can take their soul and take it to the afterlife. But she's special. She's got these, her powers of killing are a little bit more extreme. I don't want to give anything away. I'm on the 3rd book and it's been a long time since I read the 1st and 2nd book or listened to the 1st and 2nd book, so I don't even remember what they give away and what they don't. So I'm just going to say that much, but it's about Grim Reapers and it's really good, and it's all about these kids that they live in this special little city, and her uncle is the mayor, and then of course trouble starts because inevitably to have 3 books you have to have some trouble. So yeah, that's my other book right now that I'm listening to, because I usually have one read and one listen. My next book is planning on Never Night right now. I don't know how creepy it is. I know it's about assassins. And I know that I want to get God's Grave if it's any good. It's also in my cart, so I got to start Never Night and decide if I want to buy God's Grave or not. And I have a couple of days to decide that, so I figured, why not? There's also about 10 other books I really want to read right now. I'm not sure. This is not scary. I don't know if that one is. I'm not sure if these are going to fit into any of the challenges, but I will definitely let you guys know if they do. I don't know if I'll do that as I go or if I'll do that in my wrap up. But you'll probably get these once a week, and you'll probably get the wrap up at the end of the month. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi guys. So it's been several days since I updated you. This is going to end up being, I don't know how this is going to work just yet. I don't know if I'm going to post this or if I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm doing. I do know that I want to do the Dewey's 24-hour as well as Zoe's 24-hour, which are all coming up soon. I should probably go check and see when Zoe's is because it's probably sooner than later. And I also want to do the Spookathon. So we're supposed to be doing Empty Shelfie right now, and it's supposed to be Halloween scary based, and well, I suck. So as you know, at the beginning of the month I read Every Heart Doorway, which has got some paranormal aspects to it. It's a little bit of a mystery. It's not scary, but it was on my shelf, so that works well enough for me. And then I'm listening to Rogue, which is on my Audible account, and it's been there for months. And that one is also paranormal. That one has to do with Reapers. I've got about 4 hours left of it. I haven't been listening to it a lot. I mean, I like the book a lot, but I'm not as emotionally invested in it as I am in some other books. And so I've just been listening to it while I'm driving and taking Elise to the bus stop and back and that kind of stuff. So I started Never Night. You can see it. And I'm about 80 pages into it. Oh, like 81 pages into it. I was close. And I'm loving it. I love Mia. She's so quirky and funny and just, I love her. She's just like that power girl that I've always dreamed of being. But I did a bad thing yesterday. Our library on base has moved buildings, and they finally reopened, and I kept wanting to go find it. That's what they said. They give you a brief idea of where it's at. There's like this little complex with a bowling alley in it and a restaurant, and there used to be like a craft store and a couple other little things in there. But right now it's just basically this bowling alley and this like restaurant. And that's all that's in there. And so I'm like looking in there trying to find the library, and I find it tucked off into the far corner. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go look around the library. So I went in and looked around, and my favorite book when I was a kid, keep in mind that I did not read as a child, was Night Shift by Stephen King. It's a short story collection. When I was in 6th grade, we had to do a book report, and I picked Cat's Eye, which is a Stephen King movie, because I was under the assumption that all of Stephen King's movies were also books. I was wrong. So my dad got me Night Shift because that was the closest thing they had. Cat's Eye, if you've never seen it, it's an old 80s horror movie, and it's split up into 3 different stories. The Quitters, Inc., The Ledge, and then the actual Cat's Eye. And Quitters, Inc. and The Ledge are both in Night Shift, but Cat's Eye, which was my favorite part, was not. Needless to say, Drew Barrymore has been my favorite actress since I was like 5 years old. Why at 5 years old I was allowed to watch things like Cat's Eye, I don't know, but I watched the Child's Play movies and all sorts of horror stuff. I was a horror addict until I got pregnant with my son and could no longer watch horror movies. I don't know what happened, but I would watch a horror movie, not even a scary one, just like a thriller, and would have horrible nightmares. So something about being pregnant with that child screwed up my system, and I still to this day can only watch moderately scary movies. So this week we went and watched It. and we had a lot of fun. The kids are really interested in wanting to watch the next section of it. My daughter asked me to please buy her the book, which I did, but only because there's 3 of us that want to read it. So if she flakes out, there's still 2 more of us that want to read it, including me. But back to the point I was making, was I went to this little tiny library, and I'm gonna have to like bring you guys with me when I do some of these things, like go to the movie theater and go to libraries and go to bookstores, which I've done all this week and didn't bring you along because I suck at vlogging. I found 3 books. So I found the Night Shift book. I got Simon and the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I don't know why I grabbed it now, besides the fact that it was there and I want to read it. But it's not really on my TBR for this month, so we'll see how that goes. And the other one that was definitely not on my TBR for this month, but I grabbed it, and that was The Nightingale. I've been looking at this book on Book Outlet for a while, and a couple people that I've watched have read it and said it was really good. So the theory behind this is that I would get to it if I had time. The problem with it is that by the time I left the library, there was only a half an hour left until Elise got out of school. And instead of making her ride the bus all the way home, I figured I would go over and grab her. So I texted her and let her know I was waiting in the parking lot for her, and I was sitting there with a half hour left, and I had options. I could either read, I could listen to Rogue, or I could read. And all I had with me was my library books because I was only expecting to be on base for a little bit, and so I didn't bring Nevernight with me. So Nightingale was sitting there. Oy. Well, now I am kind of addicted to it. I'm on page 65, and I didn't even read it very much last night because Elise had soccer and I had to run around some more. So by the time that I picked up Elise from school, we ran to the store and got the last couple of school supplies that she needed, and then the grocery store to grab lunch stuff because she'd run out of lunch stuff and breakfast and that kind of stuff. Nothing for dinner, but whatever. Who needs dinner, right? And then we came home. She was home. We were home for like half an hour, and then she had to go to soccer. I read for about half an hour while she was at soccer before Patton needed to be picked up, so I drove back to base and picked him up, listening to Rogue the entire time. And then we went and we picked up Elise. I read the rest of the chapter I was on, and then we went home. I was expecting company that forgot and didn't show up. And it all snowballed from there, and I didn't end up reading anymore last night. So the fact that I've had very little time to read this, and I'm already on page 65, proves that it's a really interesting book, and I like it a lot. So yeah, this spooky reading, empty shelfie thing that we got going here, I suck at it. So I will let you guys know another update, hopefully sooner than the end of the week, because I did my first update at the beginning of the week, and now it's Friday. So I didn't take you with me at all during the week. And I actually did stuff this week. Oh well, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Hi guys, so it is Sunday, and this is my next reading update. I have one child taking out the garbage, one child brushing teeth, my husband's putting litter in the litter box. So there's noise and life going on behind me. And I just wanted to update you guys because I am about 60% of the way through The Nightingale, and it's breaking my heart. It is getting to that point in the war that all the Jews are getting wrangled up. And so, I mean, this is historical fiction. I mean, it's not like old history, it's more recent history, but still historical fiction. And so you know that World War II, there's certain things that are going to happen. And it starts off with France entering the war, and it's been going through the occupation of France, and it's been going through what it's like to live in towns with Nazis, what it's like to live in Paris with Nazis. It strikes me the way she writes this, you almost feel bad for the Nazis at certain points, because some of them were just boys, and they were drafted in or joined the army, military regime, whatever you call it, because they wanted to make their father, their country, their families proud. And they didn't really understand what they were getting into. By the time they knew what they were getting into, it was too late. So there's a little tiny part of you, based on this writing alone, that makes you kind of feel bad for the Nazis, which is weird and something I never ever thought would happen. But where I'm at now in the book, they're in the middle of rounding up all of the Jews. And the story is based on a set of sisters who are not Jewish. They are Catholic French women. And so you're seeing what it's like to be left at home. You're seeing what it's like to be in the middle of this war, living it, and all the daily horrible things they had to go through. And it's gotten to that point where it's no longer just interesting, it's kind of heartbreaking. And I know that she tried her best to make this as historically accurate as possible, which makes it even more heartbreaking, because the things that these people did to each other were horrible. The way that the Germans treated the French was awful. And then to make matters worse, we're sitting there bombing the crap out of them because they're occupied. And most of the French didn't want to be occupied. But of course there's a handful in here that are despicable, horrible, disgusting people, where everybody else is starving, they're getting fat. But yeah, I don't even know what to think anymore. I'm so glad I was not alive during this, because I have a feeling that I would have run my mouth and gotten into some serious trouble, because I am not one to hold my tongue when I'm angry, and I will do one of two things. I will clam up and run away, or I will fight like nobody's business. And something tells me that in this, I probably would have been shot because I would have started fighting. But I will keep you guys updated. I have a feeling I'll be able to finish this sooner than later. We have a long weekend, but Pat has to work. So he worked yesterday and I slept through it. Because our schedules have been off and my allergies are keeping me up at night. But today I'm feeling better, so hopefully I will get to read while he's gone and maybe finish a book today. I mean, we're a full week into the month and I've only read one book, so running a little behind what I was last week. Oh well. Anyways, that's my update. It's time to go now. Bye. Hi guys. So I just finished The Nightingale and I was debating on what to say. So I think the last thing I updated was that I almost felt bad for some of the Nazis because of what they were forced to do. And then I read another 100 pages and realized I don't care if I felt bad for some of them. The ones that were around that got joy out of this situation, just horrible, horrible human beings. I went to bed last night after I read a horrible part of the book and had the worst time sleeping. I had nightmares about this war, and then I finished it today and it was beautiful and I cried and I might do it again. Perfect 5-star book that I'm never reading again. There were so many times when I thought, oh, this can't have actually happened. This part can't have actually happened. You never hear about some of the things that they did in the occupied countries. You heard about how they treated the Jews, and you heard about the concentration camps and how they would take everything from these people and how they killed millions and how they treated everyone so horribly, and the pictures of these people coming out of the concentration camps, the skeletons, sick and dying. But you don't hear about what happens to the people left behind, the people that were in the occupied countries and how horrible they were treated and how they died for stupid things like looking at the wrong person, or they were raped, or they were brutalized, beaten. You didn't hear about that stuff. You heard about the camps and the war itself and
the strategies and Hitler, but you don't hear about, as the war got worse for Germany and they started to lose, they took it out on the poor civilians that were left. No, they weren't Jewish. No, they weren't in concentration camps, but a lot of them still died, especially the ones that were trying to help. And there were so many times that I went, oh, this can't be true. This kind of actually happened. This is just part of her fiction. So I would look it up, and it was true. Everything I looked up was true. Everything I looked up actually happened. It was a beautiful book, all the way to the end. Totally destroyed me. Never reading it again. Definitely a 5-star book. I would recommend it to anybody who wants to learn some interesting things about what happened to the people, the French, that happened to be in an occupied country with the Nazis. Beware, you may cry. Beware, it's horrible. There is definitely rape scenes in it. There is murder, there is gore, there is all sorts of horrible, horrible things. But it was great. I can't do that to myself very often, and I won't be reading this one again, but I loved it. So yeah, that's all I got to say. If you guys want any more information, just ask, and I would be happy to do a review. Maybe I'll do a review, maybe I'll just do a talk. I don't know, we'll figure it out. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Hi. Hi. Yeah. Say hi. Say, my name is Jeffrey. I a sweet kitty. I don't like my back being touched right up here. I may bite, and then my belly is so soft. It's so soft. Oh. Say hi. I handsome kitty. Yes, I am. You are the handsomest kitty ever. Yes, you are. Hi guys, it is Saturday the 14th, and I never closed you guys out for yesterday, so I'm going to close you out for the vlog for yesterday, and we'll start over for today. So yesterday I finished Rogue, which is a grim tale about these characters who are basically Grim Reapers and all the stuff that they've been going through. It was the end of the third and final book, which I started the first two ages ago, and I started the third one just recently, like probably a week or so ago. I listen to it when I'm driving, I listen to it when I'm working out, and I was so into the end of it that I just sat down and finished the rest of it yesterday. And then I also started Heartless on audiobook yesterday, so that's going to be my audiobook for the coming week or so. So that makes a grand total of 3 books for the first 2 weeks of October, and only 2 of them are anywhere close to Halloween-ish related. Though my World War II one wasn't even close. It wasn't even supposed to be on the list. I just started reading one day while I was waiting in the car for my daughter, and that was the only book in the car, so I read that and got addicted. So yeah, it's been kind of a slow couple of weeks. We went out to dinner last night, and I was going to try to read some more of Nevernight before today, but I'm about 116 pages into it, and I like it a lot, but it's a slow book. So that one's probably going to be just in the back burner for the rest of October as I read other things too, because I want the 24-hour readathon to be successful, and I know that if I'm reading Nevernight, that's all I'm going to read. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this last 2 weeks, even though I know it wasn't much, and I'll talk to you guys later.